Everyone knows that real estate is one of the keys to building wealth. But here's what most people don't realize. The actual barrier isn't necessarily finding the properties or getting the financing together. It's the soul-crushing hours of spreadsheet work, comparing dozens of deals, and trying to get your head around how you make such a huge financial decision. Most investors think that you need to either hire an expensive analyst or spend your weekdays and weekends manually copying numbers from documents. But what if I told you that AI can now do this grunt work in 5% of the time, more accurately than any human, and the results might completely change which properties you choose to invest in? In today's episode, I'm first going to explain the basics of how you look at real estate investment. In this case, I'm looking at single-family residential homes. And then we're going to use AI to extract key investment data from different prospectuses so that we can look at them all side by side and make an informed decision. This matters because manually entering this data isn't just mind-numbing, it's error-prone, and a single wrong number can mean the difference between a profitable investment and a money pit. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to engineer the perfect AI prompt using ChatGPT to write out our data extraction instructions. Then we're going to test 3 leading AI models head-to-head to see which one can accurately pull numbers from these documents. Our reward at the end is going to be a fully populated investment comparison done more accurately than manual data entry and done in about 5% of the time that it would even take the most meticulous analyst to complete by hand. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and I'm a data scientist. I'm building the AI Capitalist R&D channel to give you the AI tools that you need to conquer the world of profit. I should start off by saying that obviously none of this constitutes professional investment advice. I'm not a professional investment counselor. I'm just a little engineer. What we're going to show you today is how we evaluate our options and how I go about this process. These properties that we're looking at today are rebuilt by rehabbers. The rehabbers go out, find deals, either someone who's distressed, can't pay their mortgage, or a house that's had a fire, or a house that's abandoned, something to pick up the property on the cheap. And then their skill set is to go in there, rehab it to a decent level, put in new countertops, repaint, replace walls, replace all the mechanical systems, HVAC, water heater, all that stuff. And then they churn it up, the price on it, and the difference, they're able to make a profit in selling it. And typically the rehabber and the manager are 2 separate companies, but the same organization. Or I've had one where the husband runs the rehab and then the wife is running the property management. So it's a smooth pass from the rehabber straight into management. Once the property is ready for sale, the rehabber puts together a prospectus on that particular property. Each property has its own prospectus, and this tells you the basic numbers that you can expect to get from the property. So in this case, usually there's a picture. Here we just have a coming soon. We have the price. This is one thing that's known. And then the rent range, so they're guessing how much rent they can get for it. The taxes come from the government, so you can verify this, the state's property taxes. Insurance, they're telling you what they expect insurance to come out to. They give you the property management fees. So these are all really important pieces of information that you need to see how this thing's going to function. And they give you some other information here, size, lot, year built, etc. Now the cap rate here, I start with the cash on cash typically. This is for me the go, no go number. So for every dollar you put into the property, how many dollars per year are you getting out? Or how many cents per year, really? So for every dollar you put in, they're claiming that you will get out 10.94%. The issue is that different rehabbers have different assumptions baked into how they calculate this number. They're not showing us what their numbers are. So you have to deal with maintenance on the property. You have your income, which is the rent, and then you've got your maintenance, and you've got your taxes and the insurance, and maybe there's some other local permit fees. One place needs like a fire engine permit to pay for the fire services to come out. You might have lawn keeping. Some places you provide utilities, etc. So the way you arrive at this number, those are all based on estimates. And you might be estimating in a different way from the way that this provider is estimating. So you really have to be careful about this. So I never go by this number, which is partially why I built this spreadsheet. that you're going to see in a minute. But here's where it gets interesting. Building the spreadsheet is only half the battle. The real question is, can AI actually fill it in correctly, or will it cost me thousands in bad investment decisions? Also, they're estimating here a 25% down payment, but I can also do it with a 20% down payment, and then the loan terms come out differently. What interest rate are they showing on the loan? The loan terms can be different on a 20 or 25% down. There's just all these different factors that come into play. And what we're trying to get to is between different providers, getting an apples to apples comparison so I can really see what I'm selecting and I know that I'm making an informed decision. So I have dozens of these prospectuses and there's always new ones coming out. Most rehabbers have 10, 20 properties at a time. Now we're going to go to the spreadsheet that I built. So I go back and calculate these on my own. So here's a property. I city, state, zip. We're just going to go through this real quick so that you can see what data we're trying to pull and you'll understand better where the value is here. So I assume a 3% appreciation rate just tracks with inflation. Inflation now it's actually probably in double digits, but no one will admit that. But I am conservative, assume 3%. Maintenance, 0.5% of the cost of the property every year. Vacancy 1 month. So I assume 1/12, right? 8%, 8.33. When I'm looking at these, why do I build a spreadsheet? Because when I'm looking at all these, I have to look at them one by one, and it's hard to track and remember and sift through it in my head. So I need to get this all down on paper. So what I need to do, first and foremost, is I need an AI that's going to do just the basic paperwork for me. It's going to pull these numbers, the property tax, the rent, management fee, insurance, and price off of these documents and fill in the blanks, basically, for this first section here. Let's just go through this really quickly so we can understand. Closing costs, I always assume $5,000. Cash in is the down payment plus the closing costs. Loan amount is whatever this price is minus the down payment. That's how much loan we have to take out. Interest rate, and then I just calculate out the principal, interest, vacancy, throw in the maintenance, annual, how much money is the property taking in every year is the annual income here, $26,000 a year. Then we take the expense and get the cash flow out of it. Appreciation is based on that 3%. This, you don't really see appreciation until much further down the line when you go to sell or refinance. I have a principal pay down figure here. So the true annual return is going to be how much principal do I pay down? How much does it appreciate? And how much cash flow comes in from rent? And the cash flow here is the income minus the net expense. So this cash on cash figure, the 7% is huge right now. It varies from time to time. Back 10, 15 years ago, you could have gotten like a 12% cash on cash. So for every dollar I put in, every year I get out 7 cents. Doesn't sound like much, but if you think about most investments, grand total, they don't put out that much. Think of a stock market. How can you consistently get 7%? You can't. Rent to value ratio, that's just an indicator that's for the rent check divided by the cost of the property. It's usually about 2.8%. ROI, return on investment. This is the real number here, right? So I'm taking the cash I'm getting in plus the appreciation plus how much of the principal of that loan did I pay down. And then I'm dividing that by the total amount of money I put in. So this is 23.7 cents. That means total value, all told, not money I can touch now. For every dollar I'm putting in, I'm getting out 24 cents a year. Not bad. And then simple payback. How many years does it take of running this property to get back the money that I invested in it in cash in hand? Okay, so to run this whole bad boy, I have to get this information off of those sheets that we saw. Now comes the moment of truth. We're about to discover which AI can handle real numbers with real money on the line. And if you're thinking they'll all fail, you might want to hit that like button now because you're in for a surprise. I could sit here doing data entry, poke, peck, type, copy, paste, and hopefully not make a transcription error. Or I could try to get AI to do it. So let's test a few AIs and see if they can read the figures off of this. Now, my policy is always to have AI write AI prompts. So I'm going to hit the record button here. I'm going to just verbally explain the prompt I want to use. This is going to transcribe it and then put it into ChatGPT, which is then going to make a prompt for me. So you writing a prompt to make a prompt. I need you to create a prompt for me that I'm going to input into a deep research agent. I will upload to this agent several data sheets, which are prospectuses for real estate investments. I need you to output a formatted, tabulated document pulling the data from each worksheet or each prospectus that I give you. Each prospectus will be a one line in this worksheet. For each one of these, it's very important that these numbers come out exactly as they are shown on the prospectuses that I'm going to upload. Do not hallucinate or fabricate numbers you can't find. Here we are. We've just transcribed the prompt that I just came up with and said to you. And this is in ChatGPT. Go. It's writing the prompt. Objective, extract and compile key real estate investment data from multiple uploaded prospectus sheets. It defines all of the columns we want to use. Good. It has the do not invent or approximate. This is one of those things. The AI is designed to make you happy. This is where we get into problems with hallucinations, because if I ask it to write a poem, whatever it comes up with, it's going to be fabricating, inventing out of whole cloth. I don't want it to do that. It thinks that it needs to give me an answer. If you can't find the insurance figure on the sheet, it needs to give me an answer. I'm telling it I will be pleased if you just give me like an NA or we don't know answer rather than 100% for sure get the wrong thing. Ensure all numbers exactly match the source data when present. Okay, there we go. Let's use this. First, I'm going to go to Gemini, enter this prompt, upload the sheets, and go. I'm going to use the same prompt at GenSpark. And GenSpark is off to the races. Claude will only take 10 documents, and I have 22 prospectuses here. Let's just do 10 and see, just to see how the quality comes out. If we had to, we could do this piecemeal. Okay, I got the GenSpark finished first, so we're going to test GenSpark, copy, come up, paste. Now the next step is to spot check. Okay, so let's do this first property, 3733 Main Street. Okay, so this property is in Adamsville, Alabama. Annual property tax, 1551. Annual tax is 800. Monthly rent, 1390. Rent using calculations, 1250. Nope. Management fee, 834. All right, what is the management fee on this thing? So we're going to take 1250 times 12 times 0.05. They're 5% management fee, 750. Nope. Okay. GenSpark, fail. That's one down. But what about the other two? The next result is going to reveal something most people don't expect about which AI actually handles mathematics correctly. Who's next? Google Gemini came out with some weird site start numbers here. We can get rid of that pretty easily. Repeat this output, but eliminate from the table the word site start or any citations. It should only have the actual data itself. All right, here we go. Copy, paste. Wait a minute. Only output 10. It'll only take 10 at a time, just like Claude. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to do it piecemeal. Let's just check this, though. So here's 37 Main Street. All right, it's got the address right. Property tax, 800. Monthly rent, 1250. Annual management fee, 750. There's the number we calculated before. So it ran through the calculation and it ddid the arithmetic properly. That's actually an achievement for AI these days. Annual insurance, 869. And the price, 175. Perfect accuracy. Every single number matches. This is the AI breakthrough that changes everything about how data extraction is going to work in the future. Okay, now we can go through and we can spot check a few more, but we know that Gemini is working. Now I'm going to go to Claude and see what Claude came up with. I'm just going to copy this Main Street one that we've been working on. Okay, it's not giving me something I can copy and paste into a spreadsheet. Let's just look at the data's right. I could probably prompt around and say rearrange it in such a way that it's tab separated or find some way to format the data properly. That's not really what this episode's about, though. Let's just look at the numbers. So I've got here 3737. Okay, the taxes are 800. Rent is 1250. Got it. 869 annual insurance and 175,000 price. Okay, so in terms of basic data entry and transcription, it's working. I lean toward Google just because it can make outputs that are easier to manipulate. This is one part of a research agent. The only real research it did, though, was on finding some of the zip codes. Now, cooking show style, we're going to go ahead to see a spreadsheet where I've already gone through this exercise and filled everything in. How do we select a property? The first thing we do is we look at this cash on cash. I want to make sure that this thing's going to sail through smoothly. It's not like you're walking away with all this money. It's more like you're trying to build up enough of a reserve after you purchase the property that if it needs a roof, there's termites, God forbid, or something goes wrong with the property, you're able to cover it and you don't get yourself into trouble. So any of these in this top rung here look good. But hold on, we've only scratched the surface. The real investment game isn't just about cash flow, it's about what happens next. And this is a first step, but you have to remember that I'm not giving necessarily investment advice. I'm just going through the procedure that I use and how we accelerate that with AI in terms of selecting a property. And this is step one. The basic question is, will this property run? So for the higher cash on cash ones, it will. But there are more questions you want to ask because you want to know, is it going to appreciate? You want to look at, first thing you look at the pictures, which ones are brick? A brick exterior is better than a siding exterior. A lot of questions come into this. In our next episode, we're going to start looking at this appreciation. Is there a way that we could evaluate whether it's possible to game this a little bit? Can we try to find other factors of this property that are going to give a hint as to whether we can expect it to appreciate better or appreciate less? Because that is going to be our true return, the number that goes into our return on investment calculation. And over the long run, because this is a long-term investment, that's what lets us retire. Let's take a step back and then look at what we learned about AI's capabilities today. 1, AI can now reliably extract structured numerical data from documents when we give it the right instructions that explicitly prohibit hallucination. 2, different AI models have dramatically different strengths. Google Gemini succeeded where GenSpark failed, which was at basic arithmetic operations, and also in just basic data extraction and understanding. 3, AI can perform multi-step calculations correctly, which is an improvement over, say, 6 months ago, because it was able to calculate the management fees from the percentages in the monthly rents. The key to accuracy here is in the proper prompt engineering. We always use AI to write AI prompts to ensure that we capture all the constraints and the requirements. But we still have to spot check everything because the best AI still needs human verification for very basic accountability in what it's doing. 6 months ago, this task would have been impossible. AI models couldn't reliably read formatted documents and then extract specific numbers without hallucinating, and they couldn't maintain their data structure across multiple files, and they definitely couldn't perform accurate calculations on that data. This is a pretty fundamental shift from AI as a creative tool to AI as a precision instrument for data processing. Today, we focused on property investment analysis. In the next episode, we're going to start to look at more generalized research on this same group of properties. How do we get a deep research agent to search through neighborhoods, look at schools, look at unemployment and other factors, and pick out which of these properties has the best chance to appreciate? Then we're going to figure out, is there a trade-off involved? In other words, do the best appreciating properties have the lowest cash flow, or can we just pick winners? Today's ability to extract and verify and structure numerical data from documents isn't just about spreadsheets. It can transform pretty much any industry that deals with information overload. If you want to implement these techniques in your business, I do consulting work in the AI business space at aicapitalist.biz, and I can provide you with customized solutions that apply these exact capabilities to your specific industry challenges. Whatever data extraction problem you're looking at, there's probably an AI-powered solution waiting to be built.
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing in this video constitutes financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Viewers should not act or refrain from acting based on any information presented without consulting a qualified professional who understands their individual circumstances. While efforts are made to ensure accuracy, no guarantee is given as to completeness or timeliness. All examples and demonstrations are illustrative and not endorsements of any specific strategy, service, or product. Use of the information presented is at your own risk.